Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. Mm-hmm. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
This is come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here by Go Chevrolet. Live here on this Thursday morning. We'll be with you until 9 a.m. Josh Pate going to stop by, one of our favorites. Pate will be in this morning at 8 a.m. We will be wrapping up the college football season with him, talking a lot about what to expect this offseason with college football, how rare it was for him to witness what he did Monday night with Georgia, repeating in a sport that's built to be very tough to repeat in. Pate, of course, of the late kick with Josh Pate is going to stop here at 9 a.m. this morning. Obviously, monumental news around LSU and Baton Rouge yesterday in the transfer portal. We will get to all of that with Walker Howard inserting his name into the portal and leaving LSU. We'll give you all of our thoughts coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, Metropolitan Health Group brings you our phone line every single day. As we said, an hour from now, Josh Pate will be there. Compliments of our friends Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. Make sure and hit that like button and share button and comment button if you don't mind, as we'll be here until 9 a.m. If you have not subscribed to the show, make sure and hit that subscription button. If you want to keep up with all the content that's coming out, you can get it immediately just by clicking that bell to be notified. Shout out to Tiger Bait and Mike Scarborough and the crew who broke the news yesterday afternoon that Walker Howard was putting his name into the transfer portal as LSU and the fan base reacted and started to melt immediately. Look, I think this is some news that probably took the LSU coaching staff and Brian Kelly by surprise. Kelly, of course, asked afterwards of the bowl game last week what he expected with his quarterback room going into spring, and he said he 100% expected to have all 3 guys on the roster going into spring. To see Walker Howard's name go in just a little over a week after making that statement had to be shocking to Kelly and the staff. Maybe not seeing his name go into the portal, but when that conversation started with Kelly and the Howards about leaving LSU, that had to be something that they were not expecting, or at least caught them by surprise. I know that by judging on social media and my text messages yesterday and the phone ringing yesterday, everybody out there is shocked. One thing I can confirm, and I can confirm directly from the source, is that Walker Howard is not enrolled at TCU right now. That is false. Now, TCU is a major player in what is going to be a couple of schools that Howard is going to choose from. I believe that TCU will, be on that list and probably at the top of that list and be a front runner. But the rumor that he is already enrolled at TCU is not true. What I can tell you is that his phone is absolutely going ballistic. His phone, his family's phone, people around him are being lit up right now about what is going to be possible for Howard and where he's going to go. Like I said, I expect him to go to TCU. I think that is the leader right now as far as landing him. But I can also confirm that behind the scenes, the one coach that is working and making this very difficult to make it a slam dunk for Howard to move on is exactly who you think it is. It's exactly the coach who just landed the #1 recruiting class in the country and lost a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that's over in Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban is now recruiting with NIL behind his back and can openly talk this stuff in the market. And when you're talking about Bryce Young coming off of a $1 million a year salary at Alabama over the last 2 years, remember Saban was in the Texas Coaches Association a couple of years ago before Bryce Young even won the Heisman Trophy, and said that he's got $1 million committed to that spot in Young already. What's that mean for that position in Tuscaloosa? It means that if he's got to go out and get a quarterback and he's got to negotiate with NIL, then that's on the table. And he's also Nick Saban. So Bama is making this tougher than I believe everybody seems to think this is for Walker Howard, that it's just a slam dunk that he's going to TCU, going to play with Besh, go to a place that really made an impact on him in recruiting. I mean, TCU was a school that Walker Howard was thinking a ton about coming down the stretch. And LSU was always a sentimental place for Howard. His mother, his late mother, who passed away, went to LSU, was an athlete at LSU. His dad was a quarterback there. He has gone to campus his entire life watching LSU sports. His sister's on the volleyball team. I mean, there's all types of ties to LSU. And that was something that he wanted to be a part of. But behind the scenes, people would tell you that was close to Howard that, man, TCU's giving LSU a lot to talk about or a lot to think about. Just a lot of stuff happening right now. With Walker Howard,
I was
man.
wondering what was going on over there.
like,
What that man's reading right, something's live is going on.
It's just it's for everybody to think that it's just TCU and that he's definitely going to TCU. I would back off that narrative a bit. I would tell you that it seems like that would be the leader, but there are schools that are giving Walker Howard something to think about.
He can't do that.
Alabama is one of them, and Georgia would be another.
I don't know. Georgia's got Carson Beck.
They do. Yeah, and look, from an internal standpoint,
Walker's ready now.
this is surprising. This is surprising. Personally, to me, the news, when I got it, actually Blake Hebert, who cuts our grass over here.
Oh, we're deep in it.
At the studio and at the Noodle, Hebert's Lawn Service, the best. Look our boy up. He's on Facebook. Texted me, and he just texted me. He said, gut shot. And I was like,
What?
And I'm like sitting in the St. Thomas More bleachers, and I'm like, huh? And he's like, the Howard news. And I'm like, what? And when he said that, I thought to myself, like, is he talking about Walker Howard leaving? And then, I mean, just, yeah, right. Just going nuts. And my immediate reaction was that I was shocked. I really was. I thought for sure, like we had said leading up to yesterday, I envisioned that they would make it through spring with all three guys. I thought that, all three guys felt as if they can play and start at this level for this school, and they were going to go through the competition and just kind of see where it shook out and would have a good reading on who the top two guys were going to be going into fall, and whoever the odd man out was most probably going to leave. I mean, I thought for sure that they were not going to, really get into fall camp with all three guys. And I always thought that out of all three of them, the program really valued and wanted to protect Walker Howard the most from leaving, because of what they thought about him, they felt about him. I mean, it was middle of the season during the fall when Brian Kelly was asked, and we were sitting right next to Jacques when he asked the question. And Jacques was just curious about the freshman's development. What's going on with Walker Howard? And Brian Kelly's comment on that was pretty telling. I would say, and this is Kelly, and I'm quoting directly from Brian Kelly in the middle of the year, what he said about Walker Howard. I would say every day that he is with us, there's more knowledge because I'm in meetings with the quarterbacks. He has a great football knowledge. He's mentally strong. He believes he is better than every other quarterback we have, which is awesome. I love that. I don't mean that in any other way than he has just the kind of makeup, which is what you want. He respects everybody in the room, but yeah, he continues to develop. We have a good feeling about him. And when he said that, he looked up with a smirk as to say, I'm not even telling you how good I really think he is. I mean, after a head coach to say that about a freshman quarterback in the middle of the season where he's got a room of talented guys, I thought when we left there, I told Katie, Walker Howard's the future of the program because the head coach just told you so. So to see him leaving before his second spring practice, the first of which he early enrolled out of high school, is and was yesterday surprising to see. But for Walker Howard and where he expected the competition to be, I guess, I would guess, is not where he kind of saw it when he envisioned being here. And now he's opened it back up. And like I said, TCU feels like it's the leader, but it's no slam dunk by any means, because some of the best recruiters in the college football world, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, are blowing him up.
Open season.
And they're doing it with money in their pocket. And in Alabama, an open job. And that is nerve-wracking. Because if you've got to watch Walker Howard develop in Tuscaloosa, that is going to be miserable. Miserable for an LSU fan. I mean, and Saban's going to make it tough. Saban, he needs a quarterback. If he goes with Milroe, he's got to totally blow up the offensive system that Lane Kiffin came in there and established back in 2014. I mean, that offensive system has been there for almost a decade now. And if you go to Milroe, who is a beautiful looking athlete and is a really good quarterback. You would have to change up your entire offensive philosophy of who you have been and won Heisman trophies with and won national championships with. I mean, the total identity of the Alabama program has shifted from Saban's defense to his Heisman Award-winning offense, whether it was running backs, wide receivers, or quarterbacks. And he doesn't want to go through that shift. If you bring Walker Howard in, you plug and play exactly what you've been doing with Tua, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, the next in line. And that's what he's selling with NIL cash and rings. I say all that to say I do believe that TCU is the leader in the clubhouse, but when you got these guys that are desperate, Saban's a little desperate for a quarterback.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like he's in a position where he's got the pedal to the metal on this thing, man. I mean, he is full throttle recruiting openly Walker Howard to come play at Alabama with NIL money behind his back. I mean, that's got to make a lot of people nauseated. And if he can't swing, Kirby Smart's in the other room with 2 rings back to back that's telling him, you want to come to Athens and be king? Ask Stetson Bennett what it's like to win a national championship in that town. You saw Stetson Bennett didn't show up to the press conference the morning after the game?
They sent Brock Bowers.
Where was Steady?
Oh, knuckles deep.
Searching
for that ring.
How many?
Yeah.
Neck deep.
He was at a Hollywood party.
Yeah.
Like he was partying with A-listers.
It was showtime.
I mean, it was.
I got a math test in the morning.
I'm not going to that press conference.
I'm about to go about the Lakers.
No.
You got to go to a press conference at 9. No, I do not.
Joe Burrow.
I'm not going to that press conference.
Sean Payton. I'm not going. Yeah, you're not under
You
our
can let
watch
him know.
anymore. Yeah, I'm good. I'm over. It's over.
I mean, Kirby, I'm not going. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I don't control you
I got
anymore.
I got it.
And he's 25.
Yeah, he's a grown man. That man's eyeballs are probably this way and that way. Like, Stetson, actually, don't show up. You're good. Roddy Rance with the sunglasses on.
It's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of days come and play out.
Can we put to bed the narrative that is going around of Walker Howard's not that good? Like, that's what everybody's – obviously, LSU fans are grieving. Like, I get it. You lost the prodigal son, apparently. Everything that LSU has done up to this point was building toward Walker Howard, right? Like, Brian Kelly had a plan to lead up to where it seemed like everything was in place. And maybe he doubled down on what happened last year, which was a success, bringing all 3 into spring. And it seemed like that same kind of I don't want to say contingency plan, but what he did last year, he tried to double down essentially and say, I'm going to do the same thing, try to bring all 3 into spring. And Walker kind of saw the opportunity where, all right, if you want to play a game of chicken, I'll jump. And that's kind of what seemed to have burned the coaching staff a little bit by thinking everything's all good. You can compliment me in the media all you want, but when you look around the landscape of the SEC, there's 2 places that don't have an incumbent returning, and then there's 1 place in Texas that doesn't have anybody coming back. So if you're Walker Howard, and you can make it NIL if you want, but I really think this is a competition for playing time. He's ready to go now. He wants the ball in his hand.
No, I think that he was, I think when he envisioned being on LSU's campus, he looked at his second spring and thought that it was going to be a 2-quarterback race. Really, and I can't speak on why another guy would send him out. I am shocked that Walker Howard is in the transfer portal. And, like Peter says, this show has gotten everything that they predicted on the roster to be wrong. Who's gotten it right? I know that this is a scoreboard game that we're in, and it's a lot easier to point out when you've been wrong. But, who had Walker Howard leaving before his second spring?
Eli Holstein has to be pissed.
Or he's just got to be looking over, just kind of watching what happens.
But he left STM because Walker Howard was coming.
The boogeyman.
Like, now it's just I'm at Bama, and Walker Howard might be coming here too.
Really enrolled. He might be. He
did early enroll.
Let's not dig the grave. Let's not put the dirt on Eli Holstein. He's looking around and saying,
I got a
Hey,
chance
I could go
here.
home.
Yeah, but we won't Walker back.
Yeah, that's what I think that's my biggest, I don't want to say grievance, but if you're the LSU coaching staff, you bar the door, right? You don't let Walker Howard leave the room. I'd imagine he talked to the staff before this happened, right? This is But if that's even a conversation piece, you go full, who was it for the Los Angeles Clippers with Mark Cuban? DeAndre Jordan. You're like, you're not leaving. Like, we're going to sign you or whatever it takes. You're not leaving. We're going to figure this out in this room today. We're staying together. I don't know what it takes to figure it out, but you're not the one that's leaving. I'll call in the other two that are on the roster. We're all going to sit down, and it's going to be one of you two, not him. Like, he's safe. And so y'all have to figure it out. It's the Joker. I'm going to break this pool stick.
Fight to the death.
There's one job opening, and there's 3 people in here, and one's protected. I just don't understand how, when you see the future of LSU and what it was made to be, you almost mortgage your 2023 on Walker and just be like, okay, if you want to leave, you'll start. Like, I would fold like cheap suit.
Well, I mean, that's why they're not giving you the $10 million to run the program.
And I think it's a little bit of hubris on Brian Kelly's part and the coaching staff of being like, okay, fine, go see what you can get in the portal. If you want to go. But at some point, you have to recognize the talent that's there. Like, you can say Walker Howard's not ready, Walker Howard's not good. Turn on the tape. He is as college ready, NFL ready as like his stepping stones were imminent. This man is going to be in the NFL. He's going to be a first-round pick. He is as good as you can make in high school, which I know it doesn't always translate, but the way he was playing, he looks ready-made for the prime time. Ready to be in a Power 5, put me in, coach. I'm going to go ball.
No, I think that, for him to leave before spring, either somebody is telling him something at another school, right, where it's your time, or he just saw the writing on the wall where it was going to be, one of the other 2 guys. I thought he was going to compete. I really did. I thought it was going to come down to at least a spring where they would find out the pecking order of the group going into the true offseason, and then you would see some shakeup. I thought that's when the shakeup would happen.
But from his vantage point, right, he can't waste the spring. If he wants to be the starter somewhere else, he needs those spring reps. Like, whether it be at TCU, Alabama, Georgia, he needs to get in there now because there is competition. I would say at the latter 2 in the SEC, like, they have guys. They have Jalen Milroe. They have Ty Simpson at Alabama, Eli Holstein. It's not like he's going to, like, plug and play. The only place I would think is plug and play is TCU. But if he wants to be able to compete for a spot at the, with the big-time programs, I need to get in there now. So that's why I don't think he waited until the spring to make a decision. He was, okay, I see what we brought back, and whatever those conversations were in the room where it's open competition and obviously name Jaden Daniels a starter, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think Jaden Daniels was the best thing that happened to LSU in 2022, but it might turn out to be one of a double-edged sword for 2023, where you get what you reap what you sow a little bit. And if you're Walker Howard, okay, I see what the picture being painted. So
from LSU standpoint, there's no way you can tell Daniels not to come back. Like, there's no way. I mean, after what he accomplished this season and what the quarterback position means in the sport, there's no way you can tell his production level and what he did as a transfer in this season to not come back if he was thinking about it. And they had to know deep in their, kind of the back of their brain thinking, wow, this is going to affect that room. I mean, we were talking about it at the time. I mean, this is a problem. This is a good problem, but this is going to be an issue in that room at some point when Daniels announced that he was coming back. And then Nussmeier goes to Atlanta and performs like he does and puts that film out there and has people buzzing and talking about, the quarterback room at LSU. And, all the while, Walker Howard's sitting there thinking, now we know kind of what's going to be next for me. And is it at LSU? And yesterday he landed on the decision that it's not. And I think that is, surprising to a lot of people. I mean, look, people talking about where we stood on Walker Howard in the middle of the season and people talking about how Howard was performing. I mean, that was coming directly from staff members. I mean, people around the media were hearing the same thing. I mean, the quote that I read from Brian Kelly, that's not an inside source. That's not relationships that people build within the media. It's a head coach getting up on the podium telling you how he feels about the guy. I mean, he doesn't have to say that. He didn't have to get up there and make that glowing of a statement about a freshman quarterback if he really doesn't believe it. I mean, there was no threat at that point for Howard, from Kelly's standpoint, to think that he was ever going to leave, or at least not within the next 6 months. So he gave you a true feeling of how he felt about the guy. He did it even after the bowl game when asked about the 3 quarterbacks. 100%. I believe that they're going to be here. I absolutely 100% believe that all 3 quarterbacks are going to be with us. And all of them we've had conversations with and feel that's the direction we're going. That was Brian Kelly last week. So, I mean, for people to say that this is something that everybody should have known, I mean, this is something that took the staff by surprise for it to happen as quick as it did. I don't think it would have been a surprise post-spring, but the timing of it is a little surprising for all of us, I think. Not just the fan base, the people that were reacting yesterday and continue to react, and our reaction here. I think that there's probably a little bit of numb in the coach's office. I mean, I know Joe Sloan was in love with Walker Howard from just a prospect quarterback standpoint. I mean, the evaluation that he made on him in high school, to having the opportunity to coach him early as an enrollee last season through his freshman year. I mean, that was something that he really was excited about. I wonder what his feeling is this morning, knowing that he's still got talent in the room, but you lose the young gun.
Oh, I don't think he slept last night.
Oh, man. Daily, we're brought to you by City Cafe. It was good to be over with Squeaky and the crew last night, celebrating little Jay's birthday after the game. It was fantastic, man. Place was packed. Food was fantastic as usual. Great selections. Got some raw oysters. They were great. Get over to City Cafe, where good friends meet, where good friends go to eat. They're online at citycafebr.net. Citycafebr.net is where they're located online. O'Neill and George O'Neill, they've been in business for over 100 years. You can check them out at City Cafe, where good friends go to meet, where good friends eat. We'll get to some of your comments here.
Oh, good Lord.
Inside of the chat, as I know.
Good luck.
Yeah, right.
I can't even keep up with it. I feel
Let's
like
see
Jimbo
here.
Fisher on the sidelines,
Let's
just
see
shuffling.
here. I'm going to play a little chat roulette. I'm just going to swing it up here.
Whatever it
and
lands, it
see where
lands.
we
Spin the
stand.
wheel.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Go hard or go home. LOL, man. Y'all are excessively hyping up this kid. He didn't look like anything special in his limited game reps in the spring game. I wouldn't want anyone here that doesn't want to compete.
God.
Randy Lanois, see you, Walker. Let's move on and play with the guys who are here. Jaden Daniels just led LSU to the Western Division title. Brandon Hollingsworth, Walker Howard is overrated. He looked clueless and tiny out there. Give me Nuss all day. Hunter Hall, that's what you got. He's responding to somebody. Chris Corrupted. What is Brian Kelly supposed to say? Is he supposed to say he doesn't have a clue who will stay or who will go? No, but you don't have to say. You think Brian Kelly feels good about saying 100% last week after we've talked to all of the guys? He doesn't have to say that. No, we just feel good about our quarterback room. If you're a little nervous about somebody leaving, there's ways to cover that up in PR by not saying and playing and showing your hand completely by saying, I 100% believe that they're all going to be back. You know why? Because I talked to all 3 of them, and that's the feeling that we got. I mean, he doesn't have to say that. He can simply say, hey, Coach, how do you feel about all your quarterbacks? We feel good about them. Do you think they're going to be there for spring? Yeah, we anticipate that. It doesn't say 100% they're going to be there. So I mean, he don't have to say that.
And Brian Kelly is so measured; it wouldn't seem like that's something that he would do without. He doesn't. He's not one to speak like off the cuff. He says things that are measured in what he hears and after talking to people. It's not the LSU of old where, I mean, go back to the Ed Orgeron era, pick a name and throw it against the wall. He's like, he's going to be a player, and then you wouldn't see him. This is Brian Kelly, who's been in this game for half of his adult life or more as a head coach. Like, he has a good grasp of the situation, so I feel like this is a shock to him as well. I don't think he left the room with Walker Howard, Jaden Daniels, and Nussmeier, probably met with them individually and felt like Walker's the one that's going to leave.
I mean, I think people are. I mean, I think everybody was surprised when that conversation started. Grant Gillette, Walker Howard wants to play now. That's why he left. He's not good enough to play here. End of story. Kimberly says, I think it's more had to do with who's coming in behind him and Ricky Collins and Colin Hurley on top of Jaden Daniels starting this year and Nuss possibly starting next year. That's only 1 year to start, maybe 2 if he wins the starting job. Mo Thibodeau, the SEC is not the Catholic League. Walker couldn't finish a full season healthy in high school. Maybe he doesn't want to have to compete with Colin Hurley. Stanley Reed my question is, say Jaden Daniels didn't come back, him and Nussmeier compete and Nuss wins. Does he leave then? I think so, obviously. Feels he's the guy now. Talking about Nussmeier.
Both of them. There's no chance that you lose both, right? Now it's a two-dog race.
In the transfer portal world.
I'm sure Nuss's phone is blown up now. Like,
absolutely.
It's an open season on the LSU quarterback room.
Peter, at some point you have to realize he doesn't want to play in an offense that doesn't want to play an NFL-style quarterback in an NFL-style offense.
Huh?
What?
Brian Trudeau, y'all love him because Jordy's friends with his dad. If Jordy had the same relationship with Nuss's dad, y'all be doing the same thing for Nuss if he left.
Talk to his daddy.
Call old Jamie up.
That's his boy.
What's his Tiger Droppings name?
Rob Boudreaux, why does everyone love something they haven't seen yet? Y'all have been doing the same thing with Miles and Nuss.
We didn't do
anything
with Miles. Love him to death.
He's just skinny.
That's not the narrative we were spinning.
Barry McConnell.
McCockiner.
Remember mid-season?
He's a Lad McConkey's dad or something.
Oh, wow. Okay, good one. Okay. It's KOK. Barry McCockiner. Remember mid-season when TMZ Jordy reported that Walker was the second-string quarterback? If Jordy and Jamie say Bama, it's really JUCO.
He's going to Colorado.
Hey, John ain't hard to find.
Prom. I got to get
More
there.
from Barry. Jordy is grieving. Jamie and Walker are no longer a source.
You lose Will Wade. You lose Jamie. The show's just falling to tatters.
More from Barry. Buddy Sanji said Walker was the best quarterback in fall practice. Kelly told Walker to walk.
Hey, that's Buddy Sanji after a long day in the sun. And then you put him in a car with no heat. With no AC. Man's going to melt. JD.
McCumbee, Walker goes to TCU. He starts immediately.
Yeah.
Who's TCU's other quarterback? Because Duggan wasn't the quarterback.
No, he wasn't.
Season.
He wasn't.
I mean, if Duggan can beat you out, I feel like Walker's got a pretty good shot at beating you out.
Well, I think the dude got hurt.
Well, according to the chat, Walker's going to get hurt.
Oh,
Chandler Morris.
Oh, yeah, he went to Arkansas.
Right.
So what happened with the Florida quarterback?
Jaden
Rashada. So he just asked out of his letter of intent?
I guess.
So, I mean, how does that work? I mean, can you just get into the transfer portal?
They have to release you.
Yeah, they have to release him from his letter of intent first. And then he could get in the transfer portal after that. Or he can sign another letter of intent, I think.
Golly, what a mess.
It was Luke Party.
What a mess.
Yes.
Well, we've talked about this before. Your guy, the basketball player formerly known as Chris Jackson was, I'm not signing my letter of intent.
Yeah.
Like, you can take me or leave me, but I'm not signing my name over to a school because you don't have to, which I preach to any high school kid that wants to go to college. Don't sign that LOI. If you're good enough, they'll take you regardless.
Yeah, that is
Because you're signing your life over, essentially, because you don't have to ask for a release if you don't sign the letter of intent. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Hunter Fournette says they don't have the NIL they promised them. Man, I wonder how many times that happens.
Oh, this is not what I thought it was.
Oh, the quarterback from Florida.
Yeah, Jade Rashada.
Yeah, because I think he was going to Miami at first.
Oh, yeah.
And Miami paid him, or was going to pay him, like $9 million. I guess Florida came with 10, or told him they had 10.
Right.
And then
$10 million
Just
for
the
a high
canvas
school
and it's like-
quarterback.
Coach, I mean,
Tennessee paid 8.
That's what I'm
know.
saying. That's what that's why we're having this conversation right now. Quarterback is king. You have to have one. Whether it be the NFL, I mean, I know what you just saw. I mean, you can build it, like, you can reverse engineer it the way Georgia did. And if we have dogs everywhere, then plug and play. But the easier way to do it is, okay, I'm going to leverage all of my NIL money and get a guy. And then we'll build it. We'll figure it out from there.
Build around.
Yes, I mean, it's a tale as old as time. Look at what Tom Brady did. Wes Welker, Julian Edelman.
Jules.
Like, if you have the guy, you don't have to worry about the ancillary parts around you.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. I mean, it's absolutely true. And I think that was the formula with Georgia, and then Stetson Bennett just kind of developed into
Willed himself into it.
I mean, he developed into a player. I mean, to a threat, to somebody that you had to game plan for. I mean, what the most telling stat about Stetson Bennett that I think will live on forever is that all 4 playoff games he played in, he was the MVP of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
When the lights come on.
I'm not going to that press conference.
Yes, I'm out of here.
I'm done.
I'm not going to that press conference.
Faux.
That's it.
That's all you got to see.
I mean, that's it.
See y'all for the
What was he as a starter at Georgia?
28-1.
28-1, one loss to Bama in the SEC championship.
But then he righted it.
Right.
And was the MVP of the game. I mean, what? I'm not going to that press conference.
I mean, find me.
I mean, it's just.
He might be in Barbados, dude. He's going full entourage where Vinny is just on the island.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not going to see him for a month.
Bring your shadiest friend.
Yes.
You know, Turtle. Let's
Come
roll,
on.
bro.
You're flying
just
the jet.
me and you.
Yeah. Get the bag. Be cool.
Absolutely.
I'm cool.
All right, so we'll wait and see on this Walker Howard thing. I expect him to go to TCU. I think that TCU is probably the leader in the clubhouse, but, I mean, we can't – it's not done yet. And people telling you that he's enrolled at TCU is lying to you. He's not enrolled at TCU.
But he has to enroll soon. His class will start
it starts
next week.
soon. And I think there's like a week grace period of it, where you –
Oh, yeah, you get a week to, like, add classes
Right.
and stuff.
or drop classes. Very aware of that.
So,
Same.
But it is. I mean,
Gotta know.
we're right here. I mean, we're right here on the decision having to be made.
And no chance he comes back, right? LSU's out, not even in the running.
I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't expect that this time. I wonder if there's like a Stetson Bennett type scenario that he would possibly come back, but I don't.
This is where he wants to be.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
Obviously
about
not.
I'm thinking about it like next year, Nuss is going to be the quarterback after Jaden leaves. 2024, that would be, right? Nuss is going to play for a year. This team is built for Nuss to play a season, have a good season, and go to the NFL.
You know who the biggest winner on this is?
That's fine.
Jack
Ricky
Vesh.
Collins.
Oh, yeah, Ricky. I mean,
Ricky Collins is the biggest winner on this by far.
And the biggest, like, if you want to see a leader, look at Colin Hurley on Twitter.
Yes.
I'm 10 toes down. Y'all come find me. I'm here. Man's 15 years old.
I ain't hard to find.
Ain't hard to find. So you ain't got to worry about him hitting the portal because if he's talking the way he is, that man's committed. And that's what people are looking forward to. And look, you won't find a bigger Colin Hurley stand than me because the kid's got everything that you would look for. At 15, he's already leader, feels like he already has the locker room somehow. Like, he knows exactly the message he's putting out on social media.
Yeah.
And if he's going to do all of that, there's no way he can reverse course even at this point. Like, I know there's, a year? He's 2024. It's going to be hard for him to do all of the things and make the noise he's made on social media, then renege and go, actually, it's open season for me. Like, I'm decommitting.
Yeah.
So
No,
you would expect to see him early enroll at LSU and compete whenever he gets on campus.
And Hurley's highlights are.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, he won 2 state championships already.
It's unbelievable.
His mom's bringing him to the game.
16 years old. I mean, but like the way he throws it is
It just comes off his hand.
it's just like he looks like a quarterback prodigy.
Yes.
I mean, he is like a quarterback
Like-
Has LSU ever had? I guess Jamarcus
Parallel.
was still
he was like an athlete.
But when that thing came out of his hand, you're
No
like,
doubt.
that's
Throw that
special.
ball.
No
When I saw him throw that ball,
I guess Jamarcus and Parallel.
where you're just
Crazy.
salivating.
They were on the same roster.
And Parallel came in saying, I'm going to win a Heisman my freshman year. It's like, bro,
Bro, Jamarcus is still here.
coming back. I respect Parallel for that.
It's like Zalance
doubt.
Hurd.
Yeah.
Playing left tackle.
I'm playing
coach.
left tackle.
No, I don't play nowhere else left tackle.
Louisiana just built different.
Brian Kelly, you know, you got a guy named Will Campbell.
That
Yeah,
freshman
I know Will.
yeah.
I played with him.
Played
I'm
with
my
him.
boy. I'm playing
Slept
left
at his
tackle.
house last weekend.
Yeah.
All right, remember, Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew, rmb-builders.com, rmb-builders.com. Hit them on Instagram. The Instagram's awesome, man. They got projects. They got a lot of cool new content going up over at RMB Builders. RMB-Builders is where you can find them. Get in touch with them and follow them on Instagram. Jeff and Kenner, good luck to Howard, but oh my God, the Jesus status y'all give him is just silly. Ace Jordan, good luck to Howard. Hope he finds success, just not going to be against LSU. Brian Trureau, he's going to TCU. They already know where they're going before they enter.
That I kind of agree with.
No, I think that they definitely have an idea.
Yeah.
In the
But
world
I think
of,
once the name hits the portal,
it's open season.
I think people are like, oh, I didn't know you liked me too.
You deleted all your pictures on Instagram?
Yeah, right. Oh, great.
Oh, you don't have a girlfriend anymore.
Yeah, let me slide those DMs.
So we'll wait and see, man. I think that this is going to be fascinating over the next couple of days to see how this plays out. We were talking a little bit about LSU basketball last night and their next road trip to Alabama. I watched Alabama play last night. Brandon Miller is that guy. Brandon Miller is the dude. I mean, last night Alabama rolled up Arkansas, and Arkansas is missing their top two players, and they're missing a potential lottery pick right now in Noah Smith. But they're reeling. Arkansas is they're taking on water for sure. Alabama, as we said yesterday, and this is college basketball, feels like the number one team in the country. They played like it last night. And their next game is going to be against LSU. They're playing they are high flying in confidence and athleticism going into that game. That was my first time to watch Brandon Miller play. And, I mean, he's KD. I mean, like, he is the closest to – and not only that, he had 0 points in the first half. And usually a guy that does not impact the game with that type of skill and that type of athleticism, size – would be, kind of palms in the air, walking back to the huddle would be a problem, kind of, not really engaged. This guy impacted the game without scoring a point more than I've seen a superstar really be impactful in a long time. Setting screens, getting rebounds, making really good passes, setting up his teammates to take good shots. His defense is tough. I mean, Arkansas last night, Alabama will get you, and this is going to be the part for LSU that's going to be tough to watch on Saturday. LSU's going into Coleman Coliseum to take on Alabama on Saturday at 3:00. Is that they are so long and so athletic around the rim that they make you so intimidated to shoot it. I mean, Arkansas had a couple of bunnies last night where they were kind of shot faking and trying to psych the defense out because they had their stuff swatted back and just kind of sent out of there numerous times where Alabama gets in your head offensively. When you have the ball, speaking from LSU standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, LSU has struggled mightily to score. Some of the things that you saw offensively the other night were very, very concerning in the sense of being able to just score and keep up against a team like Alabama who can score it at a high rate. And they can get out and fly. I'm telling you, they have got to be the toughest matchup in college basketball right now. I mean, just with their depth, length, athleticism, and Miller. Miller is different. I mean, he is a lottery pick. He's a top 3 pick, in my opinion. He's a guy that, there's just not a lot of him in the world of his size, skill, and, being able to play at that level. like he does. And like I said, the way that he impacted the game without scoring last night. Now, he had 16 in the second half, and he got going. And once he gets scoring, you can see it. You're just like, oh, man, I mean, this guy is tough. But Alabama is deep enough, skilled enough, athletic enough where they don't have to have him to score for them to win the game. They need him to score to win championship, and they can do that. But to beat you on any given night, he doesn't have to have 30 for them to be successful. Alabama is intimidating basketball to watch. I'm telling you, they are. It could be Saturday does not feel good for LSU. That does not feel like a good matchup, especially the way the teams are coming off of their midweek games. LSU with a tough loss at home against Florida. Alabama with a really impressive road win against Arkansas. It's just two teams from a confidence standpoint that look like they're going in the other direction. And, you know, like we said yesterday with Coach Brady, Coleman Coliseum has always been a place that's haunted LSU hoop. And what they will face on Saturday. Brandon Miller doesn't exist. I mean, in a lot of places. You know, I mean, he's.
I'm like a minute in, and I'm just
mesmerized.
He's
KD.
Plays outside, inside, rebounds,
smooth
defense,
talks.
Like it's.
I
just
mean, like they had a shot of him in a huddle on a timeout. Granted, he has not scored a point, and it was like the 3-minute mark left in the first half, under TV timeout. He's in the huddle, like pointing at Oates' clipboard to kind of like run something, you know what I mean? Like, and then Oates, like after the game, they were like, you know, hey, Brandon Miller's night. He's like, you know, it's on the coaches for not getting that guy a bucket in the first half. He's like, but you know, I mean, he came over to the sideline one time and said, Coach, help side defense is not going to leave me. If we just screen this guy back, we can run this all night. It was just like kind of being like, oh wow, you know, this guy's kind of like. He's different, you know. I mean,
he knows his shit too.
Right. He's engaged. He's all in it. I mean, he's kind of fun to watch, really. You know, I mean, so LSU is going to be that's a tough test on Saturday. James Wade, he's talking about Alabama 1990, like their 1990 UNLV. And I'm talking about one player on Alabama that could have played on the 1990 UNLV team.
What happened to our chat?
I mean. James Wade, get the hell out of here, man. Bama's the number one team in the country. I mean, to me, they should be the number one team in the country. I know Kansas is like 15-1.
Get Tark over here.
Give me a towel.
Oh, put me in the trunk.
All right, you can only say so much about the Walker Howard situation.
No, you got to talk about it while we have. I mean, this is what people are here for. It's been another narrative.
I've told you what I know about it. I told you what I think about it. I told you.
Is it Kayshawn's fault or is it Jack Besh's fault?
Oh, it's Jaden Daniels' fault.
It's Jaden's fault. Next on.
We're going to talk more college football with Josh Pate. Pate's coming up here.
Up next on Undisputed.
Is going to be here at 8 a.m. And we'll ask him about LSU's quarterback situation, what he thinks about it. But we'll also talk to him about the college football season. We'll take a break. Be right back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Talk to his daddy.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss, loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest, then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online, and stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Friday the 13th Night Fights. 7 pro wrestling matches January 13th at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, and 1 celebrity boxing match for the ages. Pro Wrestling 225 and Gulf States Wrestling will feature 7 matches, 4 of which will be for championship belts. All the proceeds to benefit the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, Dreams Come True, and St. Jude. Get your tickets now because the main event, Glitz vs. Grits, will take place immediately following the wrestling, featuring Casey the Rougarou McKenzie. From Back Bruley, no career wins, but no career losses. And he will take on Ryan, the Pied Piper of Partying Maranto. He's never won a fight. He's never lost an after party. Get your tickets now. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Glitz vs. Grits, January 13th. Get your tickets at lasportshall.com. That's lasportshall.com. And special thanks to the following sponsors.
Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by the Go Chevrolet, Remember, great truck selections over at Go right now, GEAUXChevrolet.com. Get in touch with them. Daily, we're also brought to you by Katie's Restaurant over in Mid-City, New Orleans, katie'sinmidcity.com. Scott Craig and the crew. Scotty was one of the texts that I received yesterday afternoon talking about that he was devastated. It was like a kick to the balls of Scotty when he got the Walker Howard news.
Really?
Same. Howard.
How many texts do you think you got? Like,
oh gosh,
round ball it.
Are people surprised?
60?
Yeah.
60.
I mean,
no wonder you don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like, can't get a word in edgewise.
Well, I mean, it
with
was
the
just
guy.
like it's not just
live on Slack.
It's
hardest man to text ever.
It's the friends. Then it's like people from like around the conference,
right?
You know, that are like curious, like
what's going on.
Yeah, like
But
I mean, like Luch,
surprised,
you know, like
right?
Huh?
People aren't surprised.
Shocked.
I think people are surprised at the timing.
I guess. Have y'all read the comments on our Instagram post from yesterday?
No, I mean I'm just reading the chat.
You should read the we should take some time and just read the comments. They're amazing.
Why don't we open up the phone lines?
we
didn't do it yesterday.
Yeah. That's true. We didn't really have time yesterday.
Yeah,
Ronnie Rants.
If you want to call in, call in.
This man is just plugging.
I mean, you can only talk about it so long.
So let's get the opinions.
Like, I mean, it's just call in, tell us what you think.
This is safe space here. When it rains, it pours. Obviously, the news hits, and then the skies open up in Baton Rouge. I mean, this is just
it's like the day Tyrann Mathieu got kicked off the team.
It is.
And people think you're in the comments are like, Jordy's gonna lose his mind on the show tomorrow.
We were on Tiger
What's he gonna
Droppings.
do?
We're really.
Yeah, they're like, well, the Culotta show tomorrow. Like, what's Jordy and Lloyd gonna do? They were just saying the one person you can't lose is Walker Howard. I was like, oh, we did say that.
God.
I mean, I've been saying that the whole time. I thought he was the future of the program.
Me too.
Same.
I mean, really, I really did. I mean, I was like,
Then we all pivoted to.
I mean,
well,
I
Colin
thought-
Hurley's up next.
I thought
Ricky
for
Collins.
sure, like behind closed doors, they were like, Walker,
You're not.
you're safe, buddy.
The golden goose.
Absolutely.
But you can't blame him for leaving, right?
No, I'm not.
Not at all.
It's
not
not
his
blaming him for
That man
leaving.
wants the ball.
But a lot of people are comparing him to like Stetson Bennett. Like, look at that kid. He's 25, and this is what he's doing now. Like, you should be patient and wait and like go on his path.
I think
That's a once in a lifetime.
I think everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own path. And everybody has their own expectation. That's what we can't account for.
Right.
You know what I mean? It makes sense for us to believe that if Brian Kelly was like, hey, Walker, just chill, man. Just be patient. That makes sense. But we don't account for Walker being like, no,
I know.
I'm not. I'm not
Exactly.
being patient. When I was coming up, I knew by this point in my career I was going to be playing. Right?
Already
Take
out.
Oh,
notes
that
down.
shit.
Yeah, Jordy. I mean, I agree.
I mean,
I
you
don't
know,
blame
I mean-
him.
Have a
Yeah,
team.
I get where he's
Hold up.
coming from.
And you have to.
Oh,
you have
God.
To account for it.
Somebody's losing
All
their
right,
mind
chill
over
out,
there.
chill out, chill out.
No,
Relax.
go 10. Give me all 10.
Good morning. How are you? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? Dex from New Orleans.
Have a take, don't suck. What you got?
Yeah, man, I was just calling in. Obviously, right when the news hit, it was absolutely devastating. I agree with your tweet from yesterday. I thought it was devastating. I would think probably about 6 years ago, this would have been even more devastating news. I think the good thing that LSU is building is that we have guys that are there and guys that are coming in that kind of lessens the blow a little bit.
Yeah.
Back when we had no quarterbacks, this would have been absolutely gut-wrenching.
That's true.
I do think that Nussmeier showed a lot of promise. If he can, get the gunslinger mentality, kind of quiet it down a little bit. But I think Walker saw the writing on the wall. I think the bowl game had a big time deal with this, as far as when he really didn't get the minutes that he thought he would get in a bowl game.
Yeah.
When his red shirt got lifted for that game, I think that really kind of showed him where the coaches stood with him. And like you said, I really believe he wanted to get in the spring at a different program and learn their system.
Yeah, because I think he's got anticipation to play in the fall. And you can't get those reps back.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the bowl game was a really big indicator to him about where the coaches stood with him as far as next year goes. I think he's one of those guys that he just don't want to wait till his junior year or his redshirt sophomore year to kind of go out there and prove himself. I think he thought he was ready from the second he stepped on LSU's campus. So yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I think 6 to 8 years ago, this would have been the worst news ever to LSU fans, and it still stings. I think the thing that stings the most is what the media is going to make it out to be with the Brian Kelly dancing videos are coming back out again, like we went through with Danny. I just wanted Brian Kelly to bring one home for us and a couple home for us where we can just shove those videos back up their ass. But y'all have a great day.
Appreciate you, Dex. Have a good day, buddy. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. One thing I wanted to clarify, somebody had a take up here. Travis Rose says, also, you guys are delusional if you think Ricky Collins is going to play an important snap at LSU. Like, in what sense? Like, in his career? I definitely don't think he's going to be like this year. And I meant he was the biggest winner because his path to play has gotten a little bit more clear. All right, let's go to the phone line. We're blowing up. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
We need to get an old school phone.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Austin from Denham.
Austin from Denham. What you got?
Can you tell me? I'm about to give you a list of names. I want you to tell me what they have in common. Walker Howard, Lindsey Scott, Lowell Narcisse, Brandon Harris, TJ Finley.
Yeah. Hang up.
Little bitches.
Hang up. Next call.
Louisiana quarterbacks that have left. I think we need to stop recruiting Louisiana quarterbacks.
Hell
but it's also not the end of the world. Best of luck to Walker Howard at TCU. But, man, he will need to chill out.
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
right.
The end of the world.
Appreciate you, Austin. Good take.
Hayden Reddick.
Yeah,
As Hunter
right.
Fournette says in here, if you ain't a tiger, you're a tiger bait.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff and Kenner, boy.
Oh, what you got, Jeff?
Speaking of hanging up.
Hey, I don't know if there's anything going on with LSU football today. So I'm really sort of out of the loop on that, because who knows what's going on. There doesn't seem to be any news breaking right now.
Zach Lee's coming back.
But I do have a bigger question for Katie and a bigger question for Jordy, so we can get off this news that we're alleged that's going on. Jordy, everybody in the bunker wants to know, how many baseball hats do you own, and will Kelly allow you to keep them?
Yeah, Kelly definitely wants me to keep them because she thinks that my bald head is very unattractive.
She doesn't hide.
And
lick the top.
I've got a cup. I mean, I've just got a WAFB assortment of different hats. I probably have
a Rougarou.
10 hats that I go through.
So wait, we demand a number, not a lot. That is not a number.
I would say 10.
10.
Yeah.
10.
10. I would have went with the over on that one. Okay. All right. And on another piercing sports question, Katie, you and your kicks, boy, you are the bomb. We have to know how many pairs of Nikes.
A lot more than 10.
Not more than 10.
A lot more than 10.
I don't want to tell y'all that.
I've been in that closet, Coach.
These were a
lot
Christmas
more than
gift,
10.
so thank you. I appreciate that. These were from David.
I would guess 30.
I am a sneakerhead.
35?
No.
She's not going to say the
I don't
number.
know.
There's no way.
I don't know.
Over 30?
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for calling. Next call. Who we
Her
got?
closet's immaculate.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Turn your radio down. Yeah. You
Turn your
suck.
radio down.
You
Turn
suck.
What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right,
I hang up on that man. Yeah.
He's not. Yeah.
What's your name?
Too
Where you
much
calling
background.
from? People.
There's rules.
You gotta have the programming turned down when you're on call because there's a delay. So when I come to you,
call him back.
it's gonna be later than live, and this is the definition of have a take, don't suck. Be ready for your take. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Oh, this man again.
From Gretna, Louisiana.
Oh, West Bank, a wanker. What you got?
I want to tell Jordy, man, congratulations on his wedding.
Appreciate
I love your
that,
show.
cuz.
Lloyd needs to be quiet. He don't know shit.
Oh, would you hear me on the radio, Coach?
Thank you.
I love hearing myself twice.
Yeah, I mean, Walker Howard was leaving. It broke my heart, but I think we're gonna be all right anyway. Because Nussmeier looks like a real deal too.
I agree. I mean, I don't think that it's the end of the world by any means.
Yeah.
By any means.
Plus, we got some good talent coming in too.
right.
But it is a heartbreaker. I'm still crying about it. It is what it is.
Well, then this is the show for you, bro.
That's what I'm talking about.
I appreciate
All
you
right,
listening,
man.
cuz. Thanks for the
All
congrats.
right, buddy.
All right, man.
All right, bye.
He sounds just like Clint from DeParish.
Well, they all
Yes.
the wankers over there, bro.
I mean, exactly like him.
Sounds like Hold the Mayo.
Hunter Fournette
Look at
said
this
that's Clint's
motherfucker.
cousin.
225-229-7741.
Cardell's called.
Cordell.
Cordell, good morning. How we feeling, brother?
What's going on?
Hey, Cordell.
What's happening?
All seriousness, man. When it comes to Walker Howard, y'all got like in the chat and people on Twitter and the message boards, y'all gotta be careful bringing up the kid's family, because I've seen a couple of comments bringing up his mom.
Uh-huh.
And that shit's lame as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta think about that.
Yeah.
Because what if that was your child?
Yeah, for sure. Did we say something
That's
about
all
the family?
No.
No, he's
Somebody
talking
in the
about
chat.
he's
People
talking
in the
about
chat.
the dirty
boards.
underbelly of LSU
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
I just like y'all people can like talk about it all they want. I mean, it's not gonna change the fact that he's transferring. But like bringing up something like that's crazy.
No, it is. It is. But you know what? As disgusting as it is, Cordell, it's not surprising.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely not surprising. Yeah, it's definitely not.
Yep.
But yeah, congratulations on your wedding, man, and all positive. Get away from that, but congratulations on your wedding, bro.
Appreciate that, see?
Wish you two many blessings.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for listening as always. Thanks for interacting with us, and thanks for being out there.
And keep putting out bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep banging them here. 225-229-7741, the music.
Yeah.
You can't say nothing around y'all two. 225-229-7741. Not all calls have been on point this morning. Remember, come on, we got rules here, man. Be ready for your time.
Well, what are the rules? Tell
Have
me.
a take, don't suck.
I know, but
I mean, the definition
literally.
of sucking is not being prepared for the call.
As in
Having the radio on.
Turn the radio down.
Yeah.
Turn your radio
You're going
down.
to talk to us through the phone. That's where we're going to talk, not through your computer, through your laptop, through your iPad.
Let me call this show off my laptop.
A video call.
Yeah, right.
Time to hear Jordy talk shit about Walker Howard.
I'm gonna put my pants on. Hold on.
Let's
all right.
get my coffee.
We were doing we were doing a live for Katie's Restaurant somewhere in our calls section. Remember Katie's Restaurant, the best. Scott Craig and the crew over there. A lot of LSU football discussion, I guarantee you, at the bar over at Katie's today. Your neighborhood dive and bar over at Katie's. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Their sister restaurant, Francesca's Deli, that you can find downtown, is awesome, and all online as well. If you're getting into New Orleans and you want to feel a city and kind of feel the flair of a neighborhood bar, go see Katie's Restaurant. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com.
I sent the Mulkeys there last week. They were looking for a place to eat that their kids would all enjoy, and they are freaking sold.
Kim
They're like, this
Mulkey?
is no Matt Mulkey.
Oh.
Yeah, I just casually sent
you
Kim
said the
Mulkey over to
Mulkeys.
Katie's.
I thought. The
I
same
only know
thing,
one.
Jordan. Yes.
You know Matt, so I sent them, and now they're huge fans. Like everybody loved it. They were obsessed. They called
they
me
related?
after. No, I don't think so. I think they would have told me that by now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a relation there. But anyway, they love Katie's, as everyone does who gives it a try. It's so good.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Southern Eye Center is located at 6859
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey everybody, it's Mikey Matuk from Mic'd Up. If you haven't already liked or subscribed to our show, we're live every Monday, Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. from our studio, and every Friday from 4:30 to 6 from Uncle Earl's. Come hang out with the boys, me, Jay Mitch, Jackie Boy, Lloyd. Lloyd has his shenanigans up in the corner. Come hang out with us again. Like and subscribe. We're live Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Fridays from Uncle Earl's from 4:30 to 6. Come hang out with us. We appreciate all the love. See you on the show.
Back to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Super late with our next guest. Sorry about this so much. There's a melt happening down in Baton Rouge. If we have to keep this one quick, we totally understand because the schedule is very regimented, and we appreciate him joining us. A couple of days after the national championship and traveling back across the country is Josh Pate, one of our favorites. You know him. He's here throughout the college football season, and you watch him with the late kick, Josh Pate, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central. Josh, good morning. How are you? Sorry we're late.
Well, I mean, I got a breakfast burrito I'm scheduled to eat in 10 minutes. What is happening?
Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but LSU had their 5-star local quarterback in Walker Howard put his name into the transfer portal yesterday, and the melt is real down here in Baton Rouge. I guess we can start there. I hate to put a local story on you, but you're so dialed into college football, you would get this. Have you heard the fallout of LSU losing a quarterback?
Yeah, so here's the way that's gone. Pretty much everybody who's got an inkling of quarterback depth, I've heard rumors about over the past week or two. Some of them are valid, some of them are not. Obviously, it turns out it was valid at LSU. So my point there is I never really know who to believe and which situation to take seriously until a kid actually enters the portal. Yeah. Then when they enter the portal, especially like you just said, if it's a local product like Walker Howard, I go, uh-oh. And it doesn't take long to kind of put your finger on the pulse until your finger gets burned. Because you're right. They've been very animated down there, as I understand they should be about this. I would just ask, what's the alternative? Anytime you lose from a quality room, I always ask, what's the alternative? The alternative, obviously, is to not have any depth whatsoever. No one ever loses a good player to the portal when their depth sucks. So I know it's not fun to see those names, but I just think in 2006, maybe you had a chance to keep every player in your room, your quarterback room or wide receiver room or whatever it is. It's just not feasible in this day and moving forward. This is not going to be the last program that has to deal with this. I would also say, Jordy, I think a lot of the other programs I'm mentioning, they may deal with it too, but they may deal with it coming out of spring ball when you absolutely can't make a move after that.
Right. It's funny you mentioned 2006 because 2006 here in Baton Rouge, LSU had Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Perrilloux, and Matt Flynn on the same roster. That's probably as good as LSU's quarterback room has ever been. And now I agree with you. This is going to be this is the second year in a row LSU's lost one of 3 quarterbacks. Now, last year it was in fall camp. This is pre-spring, but this is going to become the norm on every campus who's got talent, right?
Yeah, it's not just going to be QB, but obviously quarterback is like its own world, and it operates probably on a different set of rules. I look around so many places, and I look at how they're having to grasp for straws, and a lot of people are putting their hope in the fact that they may get a guy out of the portal. Meanwhile, at LSU, your hope should be founded in the fact that there are so many guys already on campus that you can't keep all of them. That's not a bad problem, quote unquote, to have. It's just in the moment, maybe we all grew up in the recruiting era, the classical college football recruiting era. And so I know everybody watching and listening, just like I do, when you're sitting there on signing day in years past and you watch kids come in, you project every one of them. And you have a vision for every one of them, what they're going to look like on the field for LSU in meaningful downs. And it doesn't always pan out that way. It never has. But it used to just be that maybe a guy didn't pan out for whatever reason. Now you never really get to find out because they transfer. And I guess I hate this sentence, but I'll use it anyway. It is what it is at this point.
For sure. Josh Pate joining us here at Late Kick Josh is where you find him on Twitter. Probably the best at what we're doing right now and discussing college football. There's nobody better in our business than Pate right now who's got it going on. He came in from L.A. earlier this week. He was out there watching the national championship game. Take me to that experience on Monday night before we kind of talk about what happened on the field. What was just the game like out in Los Angeles for that setting?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Game was terrible. The setting was surprisingly good. Now, I heard some people complaining that LA didn't take the game seriously. I didn't get that at all. I think they did a really good job. I thought, for that matter, Indianapolis did a very good job last year. You're kind of confined to what you're confined to geographically. So the fact that it's 10 degrees last year, or the fact that it's raining sideways this year, to my knowledge, the playoff committee doesn't have control of that stuff. We may find out otherwise, but for now, I don't think they do. So the stuff they could control, I thought they did a good job of. But I got to tell you, man, I did my best. I mean, I tried so hard the week leading up to that game to try and convince myself and everybody else that maybe there's some outside shot that TCU has a path to an upset. And then the game happened and everyone saw what transpired. But I was about probably, let's say, Sunday evening and then leading up to kickoff on Monday, starting to get text messages from people I know inside the Georgia program, and standing on the field Monday before the game, just watching warm-ups, talked to a couple of Georgia coaches, and man, there was no doubt. There was zero doubt before the game kicked off. They just said, what's about to happen is it's gonna be pretty ugly. We're pretty confident in what we're about to do. Big people move little people is the sentence they just kept saying to me. Multiple coaches over and over again, which meant it had been a mantra inside the walls of the athletic department all week. So normally what I'll do, Jordy, is I'll just stay down there. You know me, I do not like press boxes. So I'll stay down there and I'll watch the games on the field. I abandoned the field for this one. I ended up someplace that I have sworn I would never go, and that is a suite, because I knew some folks that had one up there. So yeah,
you might never go back. You might never go back.
I didn't let it rub off on me, but it was a very, very jarring experience, I'll say, for a lot of folks clad in purple who spent a lot of money to buy an experience. And I always advocate for that. Anytime someone tells me, should I or should I not go, I always tell them, if you're talking about purchasing a memory, it's worth it. If you're talking about purchasing a jet ski, maybe not. But if you're talking about purchasing memories, I always value those sorts of things. However, if the memory is your team getting clubbed to death like a baby seal, that's not always fun.
What did we see with Georgia? Josh, how do you view them now?
Look, I have not radically changed my thoughts on Georgia, and I've noticed I'm in the minority a little bit on that. I view Georgia as the best program in the country right now. I just don't view it by miles and miles, the way that I've picked up on some other folks talking about it. Now, I get being prisoner of the moment. 65-7 is a crazy number to look at, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I saw 43-42 the week earlier.
Right.
And I saw them get beat by Alabama in the SEC championship game last year before getting another shot at the national title. So my point there is not to take away from Georgia. Jordy, we got to have a sandbag or two to the hot air balloon, or else it just goes into space, or it goes up to whatever level of the atmosphere a hot air balloon goes to before it gets popped. You got to be realistic with this stuff. Like there were a lot of things that have to go right with pretty much every title team. There were things that had to go right with this Georgia team. I supremely credit that coaching staff, which I think right now is the best in the country. They know it. They know they've got all that synergy. They know it won't last forever because they know other folks are going to come for their staffers. And so I give all the credit in the world. I listen to some of the hyperbole thrown around when we see a championship won. And I've noticed more and more, I guess, I don't know why it is, but whyever it is, I've noticed more and more, it's just like a race to the bottom of the intellectual barrel the next day of seeing who can say the most outlandish thing that's not really founded in logic. It's just going to get some eyeballs on it. I guess you could call that clickbait, but I don't know. I think when you listen to Kirby Smart, he's right about his team. Other folks may be wrong about his team. He gets it. He gets how big a knife fight it is every year to try and maintain that positioning. And the funny thing is, his own beat, a lot of folks in the Georgia beat don't take that seriously. They think he's coach speaking and window dressing, and Georgia will just, like, now that they're up on the surfboard, they'll just ride a wave forever, and now it won't be hard anymore. It's going to be hard every single year. That's the way this works.
When you think about Stetson Bennett, what's his legacy?
I've got no problem with anyone calling him the greatest Georgia football player in the history of the program. But I understand what I mean, at least when I say that. I don't mean most talented. I don't mean the best draft profile. Like, you know me, anytime you and I talk, we don't talk NFL. I don't think you and I have ever even talked draft. If we have, it's been briefly. We talk about college football. And so the parameters of my conversation begin and end within the confines of this sport. I don't need you to be mock drafted by Mel Kiper in the first round for me to take you seriously as a college football player. So I'm looking at that kid, and I truly think that the talking point around him is right. Had he been rated a 4 or 5 star player and had the same resume, it'd be a slam dunk. He'd have a statue already erected of himself, and we wouldn't be talking about this ridiculousness of will he or won't he qualify for the College Football Hall of Fame, which, by the way, he does not, because he was not a first-team All-American.
That's crazy.
And look, hey, let me ask you this. Do you think that, like I think, that they may look at the Stetson Bennett situation right now and the Mike Leach situation and change some of the guidelines for what it takes to make the Hall of Fame?
They should. They should. By keeping that player and that coach out is an injustice to that organization.
Like, I'm not a person who always advocates for changing the rules because I don't like the outcome. I understand why rules are rules, but these are some pretty arbitrary rules, and I'm not quite sure there was enough foresight put into what they mean and what they should be. And also, unlike pro sports, there should be more flexibility in college sports than any other avenue when it comes to a Hall of Fame, because the college sporting landscape in general is so uneven. You have so many more resources one place than the other place. So just putting a hard and fast winning percentage necessary, or putting your fate as a player in the hands of sports writers, because that's who decides the All-American team, sports writers. Like, you're telling me that's your hard and fast guideline for who should and shouldn't belong in a Hall of Fame? That's crazy.
Yeah. Josh, when you think of the SEC, Brian Kelly wins 10 games in year one, takes the team to Atlanta to represent the West. Georgia, obviously, back-to-back national championships. Alabama just bagged the #1 recruiting class. Where do you see the pecking order of this league over the next couple of years with new coaches and all these players continuing to roll in?
So, ironically, my thoughts start in College Station, because that's the one place where there should be a powerhouse right now, and there's just not. Other places, if they're struggling, like Florida, I understand it because they recently fired a head coach. I understand for example, the fact that South Carolina or Arkansas, even though they're fully committed, history says they should struggle to be a tier 1 major player in the SEC. Not that it's impossible, but they should be struggling. History shows us what's possible for the Mississippi schools. But Texas A&M has everything that history tells you would need to be a national player. And they've invested and blah, 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 and they're not there yet. So basically what I'm saying is I know Bama's going to be there in some capacity. Certainly Georgia's there. I have no doubt whatsoever LSU's well on their way to being there. But when we're talking pecking order, is Tennessee going to maintain their trajectory? That's number one. And number two, is Texas A&M actually going to emerge, like step into the light? And if they're not, then that puts a lot of oxygen in the room for programs like an Ole Miss, for example, or maybe like an Auburn to rebound big time under Hugh Freeze, or like a Florida. They're just, when you have someone not fulfilling their duty as what should be a tier 1 player, that's when more oxygen gets pumped in the room. And that's when you could get results like they got in the Big Ten for a while when Michigan wasn't taking care of business. Well, all of a sudden Michigan State had a nice little run under Mark D'Antonio. So that's the same thing that could happen down here if Texas A&M doesn't fulfill their end of the bargain.
Josh, Sonny Dykes recognized it after the game that there's tiers to college football. What do you think the committee learned this year by having the outcome in the game that they saw on Monday night? Do you think any fallout, any shakeup from what happened on Monday will live on and create some type of change in thinking for that room? I know you can't speak for them, but and just what do you think the fallout could be from 65-7?
Well, there shouldn't be any change. I fought people about this yesterday. This was the topic of conversation yesterday because people kept telling me, well, 65-7, that wouldn't have happened if they fill in the blank. Well, what happens in the playoff, Jordy, should be irrelevant to what your criteria are, because your criteria are basically a set of guidelines that you have determined will be your selection process. So you make the selection process whatever you want, value wins and losses, strength of schedule, whatever. But those guidelines are set and you choose. Your body of work ends as far as playoff selection is concerned the day of conference championship Saturday. That's what you have to go on. Games 1 through 12 or 1 through 13, that's what you have to go on. Anything that happens after that is not baked into the resume. Therefore, anything that happens after that shouldn't change one iota about who should have been ranked where or who should have gone in and who shouldn't have gone in. And I love the Alabama program, but man, that's not a program that belonged in this year. That's not a team that belonged in this year. The committee doesn't keep you out like you kept you out. And it's also, it's not a Netflix series. It's not WWE. You don't get to script things out the way you want. Sports are sports, and we appreciate them because of what competition is. And sometimes competition gives you a great overtime instant classic. Sometimes competition gives you a missed field goal at the stroke of midnight, and that's great. Sometimes competition just gives you a beatdown. That's competition. That's the way it works. You can't look at it and say, I don't like this outcome. Let's go back and change some things. Then it's no longer sports. Then it's a Netflix series, basically.
Yeah. Brian Kelly going into year 2, what's your expectation for the program?
So someone asked me this the other day, and they said, well, because he won 10 games, what should be your expectation in year 2? And him winning 10 games has no bearing, really, surprisingly, I guess, on my expectation, because my expectation for them this upcoming year is the same at 10 wins as it would be at 6 wins or 7 wins. It's a nice bonus that they got there early, but I'm almost, to keep myself grounded, I'm almost going to pretend LSU just won 7 games. Therefore, if they win 9 this year, I still see it as the program going in the right direction. Because a lot of what they did this past year was them seizing on a moment of opportunity. We talk about oxygen being in the room. Well, Alabama put some oxygen back in the room, and LSU is the one who took it. Other programs didn't. LSU did, and that's great. But they are going to get to a place eventually where it doesn't matter. They don't need anyone's help. They don't need anyone to be down. They can just beat you heads up. They can do basically what that 19 team did. That 19 team didn't need anybody else helping them out. They were good enough on their own. In the meantime, yeah, it's nice that this past year happened, but fortifying lines of scrimmage, how good can they get in perimeter skill? Can they build a deep and sustainable running back room that starts putting up numbers like we were once accustomed to seeing LSU put up on the ground? Defensive depth. Can they be rolling guys out there in November and December and maybe January, and you go, wow, man, he wasn't even playing in September or October, and all of a sudden he's a primetime player here. That's what Georgia does. That's what Bama in their vintage years, that's what they've done. Building that depth, that's what I think I will notice the most in this year. And if it means a double-digit win season again, that's wonderful. But in the long-term conversation, I've told you before, I've already said it like twice today, I got zero doubt about where LSU is going. Never have had any doubt once they hired Brian Kelly about where they were going.
Last one, I'll get you out of here. Early impressions of Hugh Freeze on the Plains after a recruiting cycle and seeing him work in the portal.
I really don't know. I really am still very, very much undecided on him because I know, when we were doing our signing day show, they finished top 20 in recruiting, and I thought it warranted some conversation. So we had some conversation on air, but the more you dive into it, the more you ask around, they didn't really beat many elite programs for players. And you kind of made, I think they still have made some NIL moves that they could make maybe to window dress, to put some cherries on top of what isn't really just an overly impressive haul. Now, I'm not criticizing them. They're doing whatever they can right now. Right. They're in scramble mode. This upcoming recruiting cycle will be a better gauge for them. So that's why I'm not telling you I'm down on Hugh Freeze. I'm just not telling you I'm up on him. I'm saying if there's a label over my forehead about him, it's still a question mark. There's no red X or green check yet.
Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central Time. Make sure you are linked up with the Late Kick with Josh Pate YouTube channel to keep up with the latest in college football. And as you've heard us say here, and when he comes on, he's the best that's going right now, is talking the game. So make sure and follow him on Twitter, and make sure you're keeping up on his YouTube channel. Thanks as always, man. We'll talk again soon.
I appreciate it, Jordy.
All right, man. There's Josh Pate checking in this morning after a long week of travel. Coming back from Los Angeles in the national championship game, but giving a couple of thoughts on the league and just kind of where things stand here going into the offseason. Remember that conversation brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works can set you up today. Get in touch with them. Only way to do that is by calling them, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Mention the show and save 15%. They are number one in a number two business. They got a couple of trucks in East Baton Rouge Parish every single day, so they can help you out. They got some rain coming through here. If you got some plumbing problems, get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Mention the show, save 15%. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey, Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression and anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Indiana. All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate the interaction. Appreciate the calls. Thanks to the guest, Josh Pate, stopping in here. Make sure to hit that like button, that share button, that comment button if you don't mind. Subscribe to the podcast. Check us out on social media at Culotta Show. Easy to keep up with us. anywhere that you are getting your information from. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, here on YouTube. Search at Culotta Show. And, of course, over at WAFB.com/Jordy. And from our news partners, keep up with the weather and the alerts by downloading the WFB app.
And hit the like. We got a couple people in here and only 86 likes. Maybe the show's not that good. But either way, you're here.
Slide over there and hit that thumbs up button.
We got a poll going, Coach.
What you got?
We have, where does the Walker Howard transfer rank on the Meltometer?
Ooh.
Tyrann Mathieu dismissal.
Hell yeah.
Ryan Fairlew dismissal.
Wow, look at us. TMZ, baby.
2014 5-for-5 recruiting class. And Joe McKnight committing to USC. Who do you think has the lead? Are you looking?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Where would you vote? Where would you vote before? And then.
Okay, Walker Howard leaving on the Meltometer compared. It's not Tyrann Mathieu. Mathieu exists in a world of its own as far as the melt goes.
That's what I've.
If anybody experienced that and went through that, there was no comparison.
It was like a concussion.
I mean, he was the best player maybe in football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like NFL and college combined at that point. Like he was
the most electric.
It was crazy how Kirk Herbstreit, the week that he got thrown off the team, said he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. The week he got thrown off the team, he was on the cover of ESPN and Sports Illustrated's magazines.
Yes.
That week.
It was a beautiful cover.
Endangered species.
Blows.
I mean, like it was.
I mean, I cried at school.
I mean, Coach, I remember.
I was a freshman in high
I remember
school.
leaving Guarantee. It was one of the first things that I ever did at Guarantee, like covered. I mean, I was young. It was 2012.
Yeah,
I mean, we were
2011
young.
going into 2012.
2011 going into
It was
2012.
2012.
Yeah,
Was it?
but it was after the 2011 season.
I remember. It was. They called this press conference at this weird time in the morning. It was storming outside. Like it was gray. It was black. The skies were black, and it was raining that hard. And they called this press conference, and I believe it was Joe Carvalita, who just got named president of the Alumni Association. Shout out to Carv. Congratulations, buddy. One of the boys. But he texted me and Panamsky and was like, y'all don't want to miss this press conference.
No.
Jeez.
And I was like,
did you have any idea?
I had no idea.
This was
I had
not even on the
zero,
radar.
Not even on the radar. I mean, I thought something maybe with Les.
Yeah.
I thought something maybe like.
You were just hoping.
They got into a fight the year before that. They had gotten into a bar fight the year before that. That they had a press conference that was
Who
kind of
did?
weird. LSU football.
Oh,
I
shady.
mean, it was a
Like the whole team?
brawl. Yes.
Really?
Yes. They suspended the
Why?
starting quarterback.
Yes.
Why'd they do that?
I don't know. But we can go. But
Okay,
I remember.
I wanna
but I
come back to
remember
that.
The fuck around and find out meter with Jordan Jefferson was.
Less out of
Say it
everybody.
again.
Less out of everybody during the press conference wouldn't give names, and only name he said was T-Bob Hebert was there. T-Bob was like,
What?
"What the? Yeah, right. What the fuck? Brad Wayne kicked him in the head."
Okay, finish your poll and then go back to that. I
So
wanna know
Matthew,
about it.
so Matthew is, so like nobody has any idea when you walk in there, and when you walked into the room, I remember pulling the door open, and Derek and I are walking into the room. It felt like a wake. It felt like a funeral. It was cold. People were like head down. People were like, silent. And then Les Miles walks in, and even like his entrance, you were like, what's wrong with him? Like
There's
he
the
was like
bravado.
staggering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like he was in a fog. I mean, he was like
Well, he was probably.
he absolutely was. And I mean, we asked Tyrann this story in the way that it goes.
Yeah.
Is like they called Tyrann like that morning at like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Brought him in, and then Les went to the press. So he probably had just told him because it was early. You know what I mean? It was like a sudden, like, get to LSU in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And when he said Tyrann Mathieu is not returning, like, there was a gasp in the media. Like, I mean, it's like Rule 101. You're not supposed to show any emotion as a media member. Like, you don't cheer at the game. You don't clap your hands. You don't. When somebody, but like he said, Tyrann Mathieu will not be returning, and people were like, I mean, like, you could hear, like, say, what?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, oh, I was like, I got to go
punch.
home.
Yeah.
I'm
sick.
nauseated.
Uh-huh.
I'm about to throw up. I mean, like, So
your day.
that does not. I don't even know if anything has ever measured that in LSU football. I don't know if you could lose someone that meant that much
For
to
such
the
a
program
stupid reason.
for such a dumb reason.
I mean, think about that today. If
I
that
mean,
were to
but
happen
but
today.
not even today. At that time,
Yeah.
I remember getting on the radio and said, "This does not happen at Alabama.
Right.
This does not happen at the programs that are really serious about winning. Whoever made that decision internally deserves to be fired." Now, I didn't know that the effect that it would have on Tyron personally, all of the stuff that would come after that, and he would go on to succeed and accomplish everything that he wanted to in life. But in that moment, for as much as weed was even taboo in 2012, I remember still being like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
This is really stupid.
Right.
That we're all going to look back at history and Tyrann Mathieu was thrown off the team for smoking pot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. There's got to be some type of 3-game suspension that we can talk before throwing this cat out of school.
Right.
Give him 6.
I mean,
let him pick the
It's
6.
disgusting.
It was appalling.
Yeah.
It was like,
I'm hurt, dog.
It cost him a national championship. It cost him at least a legitimate shot at a national championship. That team with Tyrann Mathieu on it. I don't care how stupid and dumb Les Miles is offensively. You've got Mettenberger, you've got Beckham, you've got Landry, you've got dudes, you've got Jeremy Hill that you can look at.
Offensive line.
I mean, they were set, and Tyrann Mathieu was the biggest game changer in the sport.
He was the missing piece of that team.
He was the biggest. I mean, they replaced him with a true freshman in Jalen Mills, who is still playing in the league and had a really good LSU career, but by no means
was
prepared
Right.
to step in and play that spot at that level, and was really unfair to even judge him on that because Mathieu had set such a pace that was unattainable. I mean, still to this day, Harold Perkins is the only defensive player I have ever seen that comes even close to comparing to having an impact on a game like Tyrann Mathieu impacted every single week. I mean, it got to a point where everybody knew it was going to happen. It was not if, it was when it was going to happen, and it happened every single time. Every single time you needed it, it happened. So
just turning on the TV and just
for him to be on this list is disrespectful. And for anybody that voted that was not there during that time and has no idea what it means.
You just flipped the poll.
What?
No, it was Ryan Perlew was the leader in the clubhouse, and your little monologue just made Tyrann Mathieu the leader in the clubhouse.
That that Walker Howard's comparable to this?
Yes.
No.
No, I think they're saying the Tyrann Mathieu melt is the most is the biggest one of all time.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
But no, it's saying where does the Walker Howard transfer rank on the Meltometer?
Right. So they're ranking Tyrann Mathieu first.
Like it's a comp?
Yeah. They're saying like Walker Howard leaving is as big of a melt as Tyrann Mathieu.
No, I think they're misconstruing the poll as to what's the biggest melt in I
But
guess
it doesn't
LSU
say that. It
history.
says where does the
I know,
Walker Howard
but
transfer rank on the Meltometer?
I know that's okay, but I think people have misconstrued the poll, which is fine. I
Have
could have
y'all?
worded it differently. I didn't really think about it.
What was the other options?
Ryan Perlew dismissal. The 2014 5-for-5 recruiting class, which was an all-timer.
Yeah.
And Joe McKnight to USC, because Shade talks about the Bayou Bash, where it was like after Joe McKnight committed, he's like the thing was over. Like people started throwing beer bottles and like just drinking heavily at 9 a.m. He's like, we all came here for one reason. We didn't get who we wanted. It's a bad. It's opening up a Christmas gift and you got coal.
It was melt.
Tell me about this bar fight, please.
Oh, I guess the statute of limitations is probably passed.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's T-Bob's fault.
For sure.
Brad Wing punted a guy to the moon.
I'm not naming names on this thing, but
No, just what happened.
it was the night that fall camp breaks for LSU. So LSU goes to fall camp before they start preparation for week 1.
Right.
So they'll have like 2 weeks of not doing anything from an opponent standpoint. They're just like getting in shape. And during this time, it's like 2-a-days.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like rules today where, I mean, like they just hang out for 30 minutes and you
Right.
get them out of there. I mean, it's like they were doing 2-a-days, and this is Les Miles 2-a-days in 2011. They're playing they're scrimmaging every day.
Twice a day.
I mean, like, it's July and August.
Toss
You know what I
dive.
mean? Like, it is 115 degrees outside, and people are, close to dying, and Miles has no care in the world and just running them into each other for 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so then there's a break in camp, and that's when school starts.
Yeah.
Is when they break. And then you kind of like get into like game week, so you just have like your 5-day practice schedule. Well, the night they break, they've been pin up, they've been in dorms, they've been only hanging out with each other.
Locked up in WC.
They hadn't been going to the bar. You know what I mean? And there's just a lot of testosterone up in that room, man. You know what I mean? Like, they are looking to get out and shake loose.
Yeah.
And they went to Shady's, kind of like the Bogies area over there. And a melee broke loose. Like, in the street, clear the bar.
Full
video
knockout.
that exists of it looks like it looks like a Lollapalooza. It looks like a music festival in the middle of the street, and people are like
Who are they fighting?
flying around,
Everyone.
fighting around. Name somebody.
Why though?
I'm sure over
Talk shit, get
y'all.
hit.
I'm sure over you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure one of y'all is in the middle of it.
Right.
Undefeated.
Right.
You know what I
You
mean?
people.
Yeah, right.
There's double X chromosomes.
And the fallout of it was they suspended Jordan Jefferson, the starting quarterback on the team, or at least, going to be in the discussion of the starting quarterback. And so it was like this it was a political disaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Les Miles calls this press conference and brings up what he called the leadership council or something, or like the unity council or something.
Yeah, I mean, whatever was in his brain at the time.
And that's when he like called out T-Bob. like the press is like there, like the media is like there, and like people are like, well, who was there? Who's fighting? Like
53.
who threw the punch? And he was like, well, we haven't confirmed everybody that was there. We know that T-Bob was there. And like T-Bob's like, he's like, what?
I was playing Dungeons and Dragons at home.
Right? Like say, well, I think he had to like go up there and like make a statement. Kind of in the sense of like, I'm speaking for the team in the sense this is not a distraction. We're getting prepared. I mean, it was
Did people get hurt? Like hurt?
Oh, I mean, not football players.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Katie, you're talking about fighting
I know.
football players
that are pissed.
That have been fighting each other they've been fighting each other for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and you're talking about the best team in the country.
Right.
I mean, that 2011 squad was. I mean, I think they put 34 pros into the league off of it. I mean, they were loaded,
and a lot of them are still playing.
Yes,
right now.
I mean, it was
that is wild.
And it devolved all the way into Jordan Jefferson has 33 pairs of shoes. Remember when they and it's like, oh my God, what are we even talking
about? What does that have to do with it?
Well, they like went to his apartment.
They went to his apartment
or something.
Yes,
it was.
What were they
investigating? It was bizarre. It was out of control
because they say he kicked somebody.
Oh,
So they went
were
and
trying
got
to find
like
the
his
shoe.
shoes.
CSI
I mean,
Miami.
it was
like the
unreal.
glove doesn't fit.
It was unreal.
And he was like, and so it became like, why does he have so many shoes? This is obviously way before NIL, and it's like, well, how did he get these? This is in the era of Terrell Pryor,
it's
when
like Jordans and like
nobody's business.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
It shows you what college football was like back then.
Yeah.
Jim Tressel lost his job because people were trading footballs for tattoos, and it's like, who gives a shit?
Right.
And Tressel in his vest and tie was like, I'm an old white man. What do you want me to? How do you want me to police this? Like, yeah, we lost a couple Nike balls. I'm sorry. Terrell Pryor wanted a tattoo. He's the number one quarterback in the country. I think that's okay. Do y'all want to win?
Oh,
I lost my
and
job.
it's probably an Ohio State tattoo.
Yeah, he's got the Buckeye on him. And then 33 pairs of shoes, and it turns into, why does he have so many shoes? And he's like, 25 of these are team ordered.
He was suspended until the Kentucky game that year, which was like 6 games in. I mean, it was like he missed like half the season.
So Rob Boudreaux says he put his shoe print on the guy's face.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like they're saying, like it turned out not to be him.
Really?
It turned out to be the punter.
The shoe didn't fit.
I mean, like it was. It was a
Which makes
disaster.
sense. The
It was
punter-
a calamity.
It was a disaster.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
feel like you were in
Everybody
the
from
building,
Miles to the police department to the bar owners to, I mean, everybody was swept up in it. It was such a, I mean, it was just such a, like an emotional, you know, like people were emotional.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, it was.
Can I Google it and find
What,
the video? It's
was
out
Jarvis
there?
tied up in there?
Yes, Jarvis was tied up in it.
Yeah, someone said that.
Because it's like
I mean,
YouTube thing
they got
has
they
Jarvis'
have they got
picture.
a lot of heavy hitters that were tied up in it. Like it wasn't just a kick to the face in the middle of the street. It was a street brawl.
It broke out of Shady's, and everybody that was in Shady's was in the street. It was
a brawl. I mean, like bodies
insane.
were flying.
Oh my god,
bodies were flying.
You were there.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You were there?
A bystander. Like, oh
No
my, like,
way.
Yeah, this
dude,
is I mean,
ducking
like this is when y'all were in
prime.
school.
Yes,
yeah, I
this is
mean,
my sophomore year, and it was just like duck and cover, like watch your six, like everybody make a circle, don't get involved, just take in what you can.
Because
Who
if
was
you
the,
jump in, you
oh,
will
I
get
ain't doing
knifed.
shit.
they had a walk on from Central that got hung out to dry on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? He was a player for Sid.
Johns.
Josh Johns.
Johns, yep.
Josh
Yeah, that right
Johns
here.
got swept, and people were like, "Who?" Like Les Miles like took the podium and was like, "Okay, we finally got down to the bottom of that Shady's fight that happened back in August. We've decided to dismiss Josh Johns from the team." People were like, "Josh Johns?
All right, Les.
Who's
Poor
that?"
Josh.
I think Josh John's probably got taken care of on the back end.
He better have.
Yeah, if not, I'm coming.
He better have.
I'm showing up today.
I mean,
I need
because
sideline passes
for his
every
name
game.
to pop out of that,
I gotta call my mom.
I mean, they had all Americans in the middle of that thing.
Oh yeah,
You know
Josh.
what I mean? Like,
and Josh was probably just trying to
just protect himself.
Duck and cover.
duck and cover. Like I'm trying to grab Jarvis. I'm trying to grab insert player B, and he's like, I'll take the fall. I'll do it. Like
Yeah.
if I'm Josh, I would have done the same thing. Like I'm not important. Like Jarvis ain't leaving.
Oh, well, sure.
Go ahead, kick me off the team. I'll
right,
fall
but,
on the
I mean,
sword.
I'm not just walking.
No, we gotta have a
You know what I mean?
conversation.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
you gotta
I need a
be-
plea deal.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the part of my deal?
That
He
is
probably walked into
wild.
Les's office like, what's your name again?
Right.
$1.99 on the shorts. Like, Josh. Okay. Well,
Local kid.
Nice to meet you. Nice to
You
see
love
you.
LSU, don't you?
Yeah, I bet you do. Central.
Yeah, right.
We'll keep
Growing
you
up
on
in
the
Tiger
support
Stadium.
staff.
Yeah. We'll put you on the
I'm gonna
wall.
get you tickets for life.
What ended up happening to the punter?
Nothing.
Oh.
He was an All-American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scored a touchdown against
Yeah,
Swat.
he had a great year.
Oh,
He had a great
okay.
year.
Hey, look, that's
Went
what
to the
happens.
league.
Team camaraderie.
All right.
Maybe the second best punt in LSU history, his against Alabama, where he boomed a 70-yarder. First one would be
Donnie Jones.
Donnie Jones in 2000. Your boy.
But what Wings punt meant.
Oh, flip the field.
I mean,
Coach.
that was.
Did
it hit? Did they say that it hit the wire?
It almost, yeah.
Did it hit the TV wire?
It would have gone farther.
That was.
As
That was
important of-
that was outside of
Eric Reed.
That was outside of Eric Reed's play. It was probably the play of the game.
It was.
I mean, it was. If it's not, it's a top 5 play in that game.
Top 3.
I mean, Morris Claiborne's interception.
Oh, Coach, I thought he was 6 in it.
When you were at that
The
game,
picture of him in the middle, that is one of the finest action shots of an
Ever.
LSU football player ever. Ever. Pull it up, Stewie. I want to see it.
Whenever he picked it, I
Oh,
was at that
God.
game.
There's a 5-yard window where it looks like nobody's going to get him.
And that's because of how that game was going. Like if he scores, it's over.
It's over.
We have
Absolutely.
somebody has to get in
Was
the
that
end
before
zone.
half or was that the second half?
I think
the
that was-
Eric Reed pick was first half. Wasn't it?
No, Eric Reed. It was like in the
flipped?
fourth quarter. Yeah, I think
Was
he
it
got him
flipped?
flipped.
Was it
Yeah,
flipped? Yeah.
Because Eric Reed, they did the
You know what
trick
else
play.
is a huge play in that game? Is Tyron 1-on-1 with their 6'5" tight end
and
in the
he
flat,
just-
and he
Alligator
picks him
rolls him.
up off of his hips and slams his back
And
into
then
the
he just
ground.
comes up
And
and he's
Tyron doesn't hit the ground.
No, he
Tyron
just
stays up.
slammed him.
I mean, like,
with the NFL gloves
you
on.
could see Bama was even like, "Oh shit, I didn't know it was like that."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was like
Seven
that.
could play like that. All
Yeah,
right.
I didn't know 7 could play like that. I thought he was just all punt returns and fumble recoveries.
Yeah, and
I mean, he
Mohawk.
straight picked that cat up off of like he was kind of like flailing, like oh shit,
About to DDT you.
Beauty.
man.
We
Look
got
at
a couple
that.
of pictures to pull up.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God,
Look at that
athlete,
Yeah.
with the spat tape.
get you drafted.
Just one spat though. We only
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
we
high
only-
ankle sprain
we
that he
only
played
needed
with.
one coach.
Well, and LSU was notorious for not letting you get spatted because
No,
of the
no,
Nike
LSU
deal.
was not. Les Miles
was. Excuse me.
Yeah, no visors,
No
no
visors.
Oh my God.
No spat, no sweatbands.
No swag.
Sweet, coach. We're at the swaggiest university in the country, and we can't do any swag. We can't swag out. Fucking nerd.
Why was he like that?
Because he's a nerd. Offensive line coach. He's like, you don't need all that. Like, actually, I do.
Who's the blonde? Over here, pervert.
Where's my wife? My wife.
Freak. Speaking of freaks, have y'all seen this Bernie Madoff documentary on Netflix?
No, but I want to. It's on my
Jesus,
list to
man.
watch. Is it so good?
It's so good, but you know what? How did they miss this, man?
I don't know.
He was.
I mean, come on.
I
Like,
don't
this
know.
guy, this guy, Harry Markopoulos. Harry
McCockiner?
He's every cheater. He's every fraudist. He's every criminal worst nightmare. Worst nightmare. Like, the way the story goes is that, like, Harry worked at a firm in Boston, like a financial firm in Boston, and one of their sales guys went and met with a big investor of Madoff's and in New York, and he was telling him, like, y'all need to get me returns like this, but he blacked out the name of the firm. It didn't say Madoff Investments, and he said, you need to create a product like this for me, and I'll invest with you. And the guy's like looking at it. He's like, this is not right. He's like, my background is in what this guy is making you money off of.
Yeah.
And this success rate is impossible.
Right.
He's like, there's no way this is happening. So the guy's like secretary brings him something. He turns around. He's got a file on his desk. The guy looks over and sees Madoff Investments on his desk and takes it back to his firm in Boston. And this guy, Harry Markopoulos, is there. And he's kind of like the guy in the basement that's crunching all the numbers that they all take and say, can we do this? And he's the one that says, yes, you can, or no, you can't.
Yeah.
Right? And he takes a copy of what the guy had kind of presented him and said, this is what they say they're getting in return on their investments. And the guy's like, no, there's not. And he looks at it in 5 minutes and said, this is one of three things. And he names all three things. And the third thing he says is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And he calls the SEC office in 2000. And he still has the certified letter, which is like 10 pages, thoroughly explaining how this is impossible.
Right.
Like, there's no way in hell that this can be happening.
Yeah.
And the SEC disputes it. Like that doesn't dispute it, just doesn't accept it. Right? Like, he calls every major news outlet and says, I've got a story that is going to bury one of the biggest financial guys in the world.
Yeah.
And nobody would believe him. Nobody would believe him. And this is like 2000, 2001, 2003. He did it 6 times before he got caught. Because, you know, this guy was like, we're losing money to this firm, but this guy's cheating.
Right.
You know, he's like, this is not happening. The guy that he went and I won't tell you all of it, but I mean, like, it's incredible
Yeah, I've heard
that
it's
it
great.
happened. It's
Well, yeah.
incredible that it was it got as big as it did.
Yeah.
Like, that guy that he went and saw in New York who was saying, like, you need to create this. He had over $1 billion invested with Bernie Madoff.
Oh, that's sickening.
The week that Madoff got popped, that guy was found dead in his office with his wrist slit, holding the financial
That's a
statements of all of his clients, bleeding onto the paper.
Oh my, how dramatic.
I mean, it is.
Oh yeah, he just lost
I
his
mean,
life.
well,
Literally.
I'm telling you, it is.
Jeez.
It is an amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
But just taking you back to that time of, like, how this cat was able to get away with this large of a crime, man, was, even in that day, I mean, and then, like, once he gets popped, Markopoulos goes to Congress, and the SEC is on the Hill, like, getting, like, just berated.
Yeah.
And Markopoulos, like, outlines his fact finding and goes back to, like, 2000. And I mean, you know, there's serious question on, like, there's probably people within the SEC that should be in jail.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no way you can be that qualified for that type of work and not recognize
exactly
the absolute fraud and the amount that it's happened. But the most gut-wrenching part is just like they visit the stories of the investors.
Yeah, I know. It is really sad.
And I mean, like the morning he gets popped, like just the fear and the angst. I mean, like people like that were saying, like, I read it in Florida.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to do, and all I did was get in my car and I drove straight to New York and went and stood in his lobby and like was waiting for somebody to come tell me this is a dream, right? Like,
yeah, because they lost everything.
I mean, like guys that are like, man, I did thorough research, hired PIs, hired investigative securities and exchange agents that, like, if you make an investment, the SEC offers you. Like, that's like one of their services. If you make an like they will investigate who you're investing your money with to make sure it's all legit. And like all of Madoff's stuff would come back like,
yeah,
he's good.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, everything's good. And I mean, the guy was like, you know, I was an apprehensive investor. He was like, I had worked hard for my money, man. He was like, I mean, it was like grocery stores, family grocery stores that they had, you know, like kind of finally popped and made some real money, you know. And like his dad was like, if you ever hit it, you need to invest with this guy.
Right.
You know, like his return's unbelievable. And he was like, you know, slowly but surely, you put your entire
you keep
life
getting money
savings into this thing.
Yeah. I cannot imagine
And be
that feeling.
70, 65 years old, living a life where you have not worried about
this.
Yeah, not you don't have to worry about the things that they now have to worry about.
Yeah.
Food, lights.
Gas in the car.
Yeah, I mean, just and
it's jarring.
The weight of the crime, how the dude slept at night.
I know, that's the thing.
Bernie?
Yeah.
Have you seen The Wizard of Lies on HBO? Robert De Niro plays him.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that either.
That's the one that I've seen. I haven't seen the Netflix one, but it is. I think it came out like 2011-ish, 12. But I just put it on HBO one night and like put it on at 10 and you're up until 1 watching it. You're like, oh my God. Because De Niro does he's so good at it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so I don't want to, I mean, I feel like the statute of limitations has passed on what's happened to Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, you don't really learn anything new. You just learn
it's a different perspective.
The details of it.
Yeah.
The
stuff you really didn't know.
The detail of just the lengths he was going to. You know what I mean? To get away with this. I mean,
it does show if you build a big enough Ponzi scheme, you can make it work.
Well, yeah.
Because he was pulling money from talk about like, when do you sleep? Because you're getting phone calls every 30 minutes of like, all right, I got to move this guy's money. I'm getting more money in. Who do I pull it from? And like, I mean, as the story goes, it's because of the 2008 recession.
Crash.
That he's like, I'm going to get exposed because people are going to try to pull their money out.
Right.
I don't have it.
Right.
And so, I mean, do you want me to spoil it? I mean, I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but like him and his wife go to bed at night and take a bunch of sleeping pills like we're going to kill ourselves. And they tell their sons that like, look, we've been running a Ponzi scheme our whole life is a fraud. And the sons are like, we have nothing else to do but to turn you in. Like, I can't bear the weight of this. I had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So they turned in their dad and both their parents were trying to kill themselves essentially. The police bust in the door, find them, resuscitate them, and bring them to jail.
Like, you're not getting away that easy.
No.
And one of the sons ends up committing suicide.
Yeah.
Right.
I read somebody referred to him as a financial serial killer. That's a really good way to describe him.
Madoff?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's as on
good.
point as you can describe.
I
I mean, and
I gotta watch this now.
Yeah.
No emotion.
Yeah,
None.
I know.
Like it's.
What a scary person.
That's the coldest and scariest part of it. Is him, you know, like after the fact in the cell being recorded, telling just how dark it was.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was something that he would go in every day with. I mean,
Right.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Money's
can
crazy.
almost see like in the Wizard of Lies, you can see like De Niro age in it. Like you can see the beginning and where it gets to. It's like, I mean, obviously he's a phenomenal actor, but like the way that they did it, where it's like this is stressing him out to the point. Like, I want this to be over. It got too big, and it's like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate everybody being involved with us today. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we will be back with you tomorrow. Don't forget, here on this Thursday, Nick Diaz and Out of My League coming up at 3 o'clock. More of the discussion, more of the reaction from Walker Howard's decision to put his name into the transfer portal. And at some point, you're going to learn where he's going. It could be here pretty soon. So As soon as that happens, make sure and get back over here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow. And as always, we're driven by Go Chevrolet.
Hunter Hall, Eric Reed did catch that ball.
Eric Reed did 100% caught that
and
ball.
Patrick Peterson was in bounds.